My name is Len the Liger Bentley. Well, I'm from Irving, Texas, and I train out of Olympia, Washington. I was a U.S. Army combatives instructor, and we had a team of guys up there who were training and teaching fighters. And Dennis Hallman got a hold of the U.S. Army at Fort Lewis and asked if we wanted to do a cage fight, an MMA fight. It was in an old school ring at the time, but we jumped at the opportunity. We were like, man, we're teaching these soldiers all this stuff. So we want to know how well we compete, at the MMA level, And granted, it was amateur at the time. But, for us as soldiers, I mean, that was huge, because we all watched UFC. We all watched MMA. King of the Cage was huge back then, and we all watched it. So having this opportunity was big. We all, canceled our block leave. We didn't go home for Christmas, and we trained all through the 2 weeks, and then had our first fights. And we did actually really well. I was one of the ones that won, and so there was 3 out of 5 of us that pulled out wins that night. So after that moment, I was hooked, you know what I mean? And then I'm the only one that stayed doing it, but that's kind of how I got into it. At the time I met Dennis Hallman and started training. I did. I prepared to fight my way in the house, and like I trained for any other fight, fortunately, we had some guys had fights coming up, so they were in training camps too. So I had some guys that were in good shape, and Dennis had just beat Kara Parisian, so he was in great shape. So I had a lot of phenomenal in-shape athletes to help me out for this opportunity. Why not? You know what I mean? It's everything. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, I felt like I was at a level where I was a few fights away from maybe being in the UFC, anyways. But you don't get the kind of exposure that you get here. Even if it's just for a year, you're a household name. You know what I mean? And until the next season comes out, you're all people talk about. So it's good for sponsors. It's good for getting your name out there. It's good for exposure. So why not try?